Excellent Sports Talk with Mark Bradley.
Hello and welcome everybody to another show of Excellent Sports Talk with Mark Bradley. I am your host as always, Mark Bradley, and I appreciate everybody hanging out with me. I appreciate everybody stopping by, and today we have some very good topics. It's been a busy week in sports. Of course, you know, the NBA is free agency is always a crazy time, so we're going to get into that. And yeah, we're gonna get into some other things. But first, before we do that, I gotta formally welcome you guys to the show right there. And so, yeah, let's get into the show rundown and everything. So first, we're going to start off with our MLB season. The All-Star game is about 2 weeks away in Los Angeles, so we're gonna have to get our mid-season teams that are definitely going to be competing for the World Series. And then some teams are not that good. So we're going to go ahead and talk about that. And then we're going to move on to it's going to be a big NBA heavy show. So we're going to start our NBA talk with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. Seems like both of these men are making their way out of Brooklyn somehow, some way. So we're going to go ahead and get into that. Then we're going to also talk about NBA free agency. It's probably one of the most exciting times during the summer to see which superstars are making moves or which superstars are staying. It's been a lot of money thrown around here, so we're definitely going to get into that. So if you guys have any questions or comments as far as anything sports related that you want to get into, by all means, put it in the chat room and we will talk about it. And yeah, I'll make sure I have my comments up and we'll be ready to go. So let's go ahead and start off with the MLB season. So the MLB season has been pretty fun so far. It's been a lot of moving and shaking around. It's been fun, and there are definitely some teams who are holding strong as far as being a contender in the NBA, and as far as the MLB, and who definitely have a better shot than other teams. So we definitely want to get into some of those teams that are definitely contenders, and also some of the teams in the middle of the pack and who are not good whatsoever. So as always, we're going to start off in the AL. Let's get into that. So let's start off with the AL East. It seems like the New York Yankees are just beating everybody in the MLB at this moment. They definitely by far have the best record in baseball. It's not even like close. I think they're the only 50-win team in the MLB. And man, the way Aaron Judge is playing right now, he has to be the favorite for MVP. I believe between him and Shohei Ohtani are probably the top two candidates for the AL MVP. And look, man, Aaron Judge is playing amazing. Just the team and whole team as a whole is playing like old school Yankee baseball when Jeter was there and they were constantly winning championships over and over and over again. It feels like they're back, and it's exciting for New York baseball. I mean, New York baseball is, it's tough to play there. It's tough to play there. New York expect greatness, especially coming from the Yankees, knowing that this is a very big franchise as far as greatness. Like, they expect to win each and every time. So it's good. Oh Lord. And so yes, Yankees are playing great baseball. And this is a very strong division. Do not get it twisted. This is a very, very strong division. So the Blue Jays are 44-34, 10 games over 500, and they're still 13 games behind. That's how good the Yankees are playing right now. And then We have the Boston Red Sox, who are in third, who are finally starting to get a little bit of rhythm going on, which is very good for them. And then we have the Tampa Bay Rays, who come in at 41 and 36, and then the Orioles seem to always be dead last at this point. But this whole division, I mean, we're talking four teams who are in contention, for wild cards and everything. We're talking about four teams who are over 500 in one division, and they're all still 13 games behind, which is ridiculous, to be honest with you. And so it's just a testament to how good the New York Yankees are playing right now. They seem to be the favorite to win the World Series right now, and I believe they are as far as the odds go. I'm not a big odds person, but supposedly they overtook the Los Angeles Dodgers from winning the World Series. So we're going to see if that continues on. But man, they are playing great baseball out there in the Bronx. So let's move on to the AL Central, and this is a very bad division. I'm gonna just be 100% honest with you. So we have the Twins, who are leading the division with a 44 and 36 record. Then we have the Cleveland Guardians, who are 2 games behind them with a 39 and 35 record. And then the rest of the teams are under 500, starting with the Chicago White Sox, who are third with a 36 and 39 record, who I thought would be a lot better than what they are showing me this year. And it's unfortunately really sad for them. Then we had the Detroit Tigers, who has been on the struggle train for a couple of seasons with a 29-46 record. And then we have the Royals, Kansas City Royals, with a 28 and 47 record. So it looks like the Twins, it's a 2-horse race between the Guardians and the Twins. I mean, it's still such a long season, but if I had to say a team who has a better chance, I think it's the Cleveland Guardians. I think they have a little bit more firepower in what the Minnesota Twins are giving me. But look, it's still a tough division. Plus, the Guardians are kind of shooting themselves in the foot, losing games. And for the last 10 games, they're 3-7. That's not going to cut it, but they still are 2 games behind, so they can easily make ground. But it's not a fun division to watch right now. But it's a 2-horse race, and I do believe Cleveland will eventually take over and take over the number 1 spot from the Twins and make it to the postseason. And so let's end our AL with the AL West. We have the Houston Astros right now, who is basically running that division with a 49 and 27 record. And okay, let's talk about it. I believe the Lakers had the best package to get both KD and Kyrie. What do you think? AD, Russ, THT, 2 future round picks. I'm gonna say briefly, I think that would be the best package, but I think Russ is that one person that nobody wants to take a chance for him, and he has such a big contract for this year. I mean, we're talking about what, 46, 47 million for a guy who really can't shoot as well as he used to, who's really not, old Russ that people think we are. I think it's really going to be tough. I don't think anybody really wants to take that big contract and be like, oh, we have Ben Simmons and Russell Westbrook, 2 guys who really not the best. Shooting wise, it's going to be interesting, but I'll definitely get into that later for sure. Hang on to that, Fred. We definitely gonna get back at that. So getting back to the baseball, AL West, the Houston Astros are running the division, 49-27 record. Who's always been consistently good, even though they cheat, but we're not getting into that. But anyway, coming in second, 36-39 is the Rangers. The Rangers, I haven't been too well. Then we have the Mariners with the 37-42 record. Also the Angels, who I thought was going to be a little bit better, with a 37-42 record. And then the Oakland Athletics, man. I think the Athletics are one foot out the door of Oakland. I think they're ready to make that move to Vegas, as like following in the footsteps of the Las Vegas Raiders and make their way. So that's rounding out the AL East. The Yankees are basically the kings of baseball at this moment. So with the 57-21 record, man, it's hard to not see them going deep into the playoffs. So let's go ahead and move on to the National League. And we're going to go ahead and start in the NL East. The New York Mets are still leading that division with a 48-29 record. Baseball, New York is real good, and it's exciting. I'm not going to lie. Then we have the Atlanta Braves. I think the last time we talked about the Atlanta Braves, they were under 500. Now, 2 weeks later, look at them competing, showing that championship experience that they have. They're playing very good baseball right now with a 45-33 record, and they're playing tough. They're playing very tough. And then we also have the Philadelphia Phillies, who I thought was not going to, make a big impact in the division, but new management, new baseball. They're playing really well right now, and they're competing. I don't think they have enough to hang with the Mets, but they are competing from where they started to where they are now. I think this is a big deal for them. And then we have the Miami Marlins with a 35-40 record, playing good baseball, 6-4 over the last 10 games. So we have to monitor, see what they do. And then the Washington Nationals are dead last with a 29-50 record. And it's going to be tough for them to make any noise in that division, but somebody has to be last. And why not be the Washington Nationals? Unfortunately, they don't have enough firepower to handle that division. So let's move on to the NL Central. And this is another two-horse race as far as the division. We started off with the Milwaukee Brewers, who's been a very good team over the past couple of years, but they really can't get over that hump, which is really sad. But they are winning the division with a 45-34 record. And then the St. Louis Cardinals with a 43-36 record. It's always that one team who you write off all the time, and then they make a big run and they're in the playoffs, right? And here they go again. They're playing very good baseball as of late, and they could overtake the division. Only 2 games out, and they could make a big impact. And then the rest of the division is very, very bad. I'm just being 100% honest with you. It's not good. The Chicago Cubs with a 31-46 record. Unfortunately, they lost a lot of firepower with Rizzo gone, Chris Bryant gone. It's just, it's rebuild mode out there in Chicago. Then you have the Pittsburgh Pirates with a 31-46 record. Pittsburgh has been a very bad team for some years, so I don't think this is a surprise to anybody. And then the Cincinnati Reds with a 26-50 record. Thank goodness their football team is good, because baseball is not cutting it right now. So I think everybody's just trying to hold on to this month and be like, okay, well, Joe Burrow's back in a month for preseason, and I'm good to go. So unfortunately, Reds fans, if you're watching this, I'm sorry, it's not a good year for you guys. So let's continue on to the NL West. And the NL West is another strong division who has some very good teams. The Los Angeles Dodgers are currently number 1 in that division. I don't think it's surprised anybody with a 48-28 record. Then we continue on to the second place team, which is San Diego Padres, who are playing very good baseball, and maybe they can keep it together. Because usually after the All-Star game, they start fizzling out and not winning games when they really need to. So we'll see how it goes. So right now they have a 46-33 record and only 3.5 games outside of first place. Matter of fact, they were in first place for a while, but then they started losing games, and now that they're playing the Dodgers, they they're interesting. Celtics got better. Yeah, we'll talk about it. Yeah, and I'm talking about a sport I don't know. Okay, just I'm almost You're hilarious. All right, so and we move on to the San Francisco Giants, who won the division last year with a 40-35 record. Very, very. It's very interesting. I thought they would compete a little bit more, but they're still good. They still can make the wild card, but they're definitely not winning the division this year. I'm sorry, they I don't see them overtaking the Padres, especially not the Dodgers, because the Dodgers is going to figure it out. And then the fourth place team right now is the Arizona Diamondbacks with a 35-42 record. Not a strong team right now. And then coming in dead last is the Colorado Rockies with a 33-44 record. And so, look, each and every time I might be a broken record here, but man, New York baseball is going amazing right now. The Mets haven't been this good in a very long time, and so it's just like, wow. Last year, just think about it, the Mets and the Yankees were just average teams. Now this year, they're just overachieving, and I'm excited about it. You never know. It could be a Subway Series, maybe, for the for the World Series. That will be interesting, in my opinion. And so, man, New York baseball is good. I think some divisions are strong. The NL West is a strong division. We're talking about maybe 3 teams making the playoffs in that division, and also in the American League. You talk about the AL East, even though the Yankees are beating everybody, it's still 4 teams in that division that's over 500. So you got to take into account for that. So this is a very fun season. Like I said, the All-Star break is coming soon in the next couple of weeks. And so this is the halfway part of the season. It's still a long season. You still have 2 strong months of baseball. So you never know. It's always something in baseball where it's a big shakeup that's going to affect the playoff positioning as far as it goes for some teams. And I think it's going to be some changing in first place. I think there's going to be some teams that's going to shock some people. So that is the end of the baseball talk. And like I said, if you have any questions or comments about it, we can talk about your favorite team being horrible right now or good. I mean, it's okay. It's all love over here at Excellent Sports Talk. It's just rant. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be all right. I rant all the time, even though it's nothing to complain about as far as some of my teams, but we're not getting into that. But anyway, so let's go ahead and talk about Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. And wow, man, we're talking about 2 guys who were really advocate in coming together as a family unit in Brooklyn, because both of these guys are kind of from that area a little bit per se. Kevin Durant from Washington, Kyrie coming from New Jersey. It was like when they first came together, it was like a match made in heaven, right? I was like, man, okay, Kevin Durant's going to get his Achilles right. He's going to come back. He's going to be the Kevin Durant that we all know and love, and Kyrie's just going to be a perfect complementary piece to Kevin Durant, right? And man, that first year was cool. Unfortunately, they ran into some good teams. Did they lose to Milwaukee? I think they did. They did lose to Milwaukee because Kevin Durant's feet was too big, and it was a 2-pointer when it's supposed to be a 3 and all that. But man, this year I think what's the breaking point? I think this year was the breaking point of the Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving team, because I think with Kyrie Irving, him missing majority of those games because he didn't want to take a booster shot. I think that affected a lot of things. Because truth be told, if New York didn't lift that mandate, I don't think Kyrie Irving would have played majority, like basically the whole season, to be honest with you. He might have played like 20 games. And I think that hurt a lot. I really do. And that definitely affected James Harden, because how in the world you go from having James Harden, Kevin Durant, and Kyrie Irving on the same team and you don't win a championship? That's kind of mind-blowing to me. So that definitely pushed James Harden out to Philadelphia. And that rubbed Kevin Durant some sort of way that Kyrie Irving didn't play majority of those years. So now, here we go. The rumors start right when free agency starts, right? Kyrie Irving is trying to get out of Brooklyn. And basically is telling everybody, like, all roads is leading to Los Angeles, right? All roads is leading to Los Angeles. We're talking about the analyst, Stephen A. Smith, talking about, I'm telling everybody I'm going to LA. I'm going to play with LeBron. And you can see all writing was in the wrong. Even all writing was on the wall. Even Kyrie Irving himself was like, man, I messed up. I shouldn't have did that to LeBron James. I thought I was the man. I went to Boston, thought it was a lot harder than I thought it was. I went to Brooklyn thinking, I'm going to be good with Kevin Durant being his sidekick. Man, now he's realizing what he did, leaving Cleveland to go to Boston, trying to be the man. Now he's ready to right his wrongs and go back and go play with LeBron in LA. And so between that and him not playing, I think Kevin Durant was 1 foot out the door, ready to leave Brooklyn. And I think another big deal about that is I think Steve Nash had a big part to play in that. I believe Steve Nash is not the best hire decision that Brooklyn made. I don't think he knows how to really mesh with a lot of big personalities that did go into Brooklyn. I mean, KD is a very big personality. KD is a very big, he has a big personality. Kyrie Irving, we all know, has a big personality. I think it's just so weird. So you don't think KD still wants to play Kyrie, just not on the Nets? You know what, Fred? You do bring up a good point. I think that might be the case, because it has been rumors that they do want to still play with each other. I think it's a lot better now that we know Kyrie Irving's going to play next year. I don't know. I'm gonna say this. It could be Steve Nash could be a bigger problem than people really think. I just don't think Steve Nash is the right fit for these guys. I think they should have had a proven coach to really play with them. Maybe a Mike D'Antoni who was on the staff. It could have been that, or I don't know. It could have been something else, but like a proven coach who's really in this league. I mean, you know, that really will work for them. I mean, they still want to play together only ways with that Laker package. And I think that's a smart deal to make, but I think the Lakers are still more focused on trying to get Kyrie Irving more than anything. I think the Lakers front office, if I was a Lakers front office, I'd be like, okay, look, we still have LeBron James, right? He's still playing something of his prime, even though he has been having injuries. And Kyrie Irving, they proved that they can play with each other and they gel very well with each other. So I think Kyrie Irving's the bigger focus, and if they can add KD to that, that would be a a great problem to have. I don't see any team. And I agree. I agree with you, Fred. I don't think anybody has the leverage that the Lakers do, because Phoenix is not giving up Devin Booker, especially after he signed the big contract. I think DeAndre Ayton is 1 foot out the door of Phoenix. I'm just going to be whole honest. So they could add him to the package. You're right. Miami, I'm pretty sure Brooklyn is going to want Jimmy Butler for that. And Miami's not going to get rid of Jimmy Butler. That's the heart and soul of their team. They're not going to get rid of Jimmy Butler. So I agree with you. I think the Lakers have the best leverage to do it. They can get rid of Russ, like you said. They can get rid of THT. They can get rid of some first-round picks, even though it's way down the road, and the Lakers are shooting themselves in the foot. And they have no picks for like 6 years. I'm going to be almost in my 40s the next time the Lakers have a first-round pick, which is crazy to think, right? So, yes, they could add them all that. And I don't know. That's going to be so interesting to really see how Brooklyn is going to pay this, because they're going to want to get something back. They don't want to have Ben Simmons to be the face of their franchise. No way, right? So, man, Brooklyn has a lot of things to work out. They really do. Look, I don't know who Kevin Durant can get. But it's gonna get interesting. How we're gonna get Bronny James without picks? Look, man, that's gonna be impossible, man. And LeBron James is going wherever his son is going. I think that's gonna be his last year. I really do. I think that's when LeBron's gonna hang him up, is when his son makes it to the NBA. And he's gonna, I truthfully think he's going to figure out a way to get to whatever team Bronny plays for. So that's gonna be interesting. But yeah, there's no way. I think there's no way there's no way. I'm getting back to Kevin Durant. There's no way he's gonna go to Phoenix. There's no way he's gonna go to Miami. Philadelphia might be interesting. We'll have to see about that. But of course, they're not going to get rid of Harden or Embiid for him. So they have to figure out what good package they can get. I feel like, yes, I agree. The Lakers do have the best package. And that they're willing to give up people. Now, truth be told, I think they're going to ask for AD if Brooklyn is going to make an offer, especially for those two guys. Oh yeah, AD has to be thrown in there. And would you trade AD, who doesn't play too often, for those guys? I don't know, man. Put LeBron at center. I do it, bro. Can you imagine Ja with KD? Oh, dear goodness. Dear goodness, that will be an explosive team, man. Memphis just put together a great team. John Morant was hurt half the season, and they still won games. Talking about Memphis, unfortunately, they ran into the Warriors. And look, we all know who the Warriors are. They're the Warriors. Okay, that's a championship team over and over and over again. So, man, you add KD to that, oh gosh, that will be a fun team. That would be a fun team. I would love to watch that. But I don't know if Memphis have enough to trade him, unless they put in Clark, maybe. I don't know. I think with the healthy Ja, they would have beat the Warriors in 7. That's very interesting. You might be right. I don't know. To go back, well, they were the second seed, so they would have played in Memphis. That would have been interesting. I would agree with that. They were playing them tough. Yeah, they did have home court. Yeah, they was playing them tough until Ja got hurt. So that would have been interesting. But man, Imagine that. Imagine if Memphis and Dallas were the two teams representing the West. That would have been an interesting. That would have been an interesting storyline right there. Like, man, these two teams right here, they made it because I think all roads was leading to the Warriors and Phoenix making it to the to the to the Western Conference Finals, and of course Dallas shocked everybody and wasn't missing anything in Game 7 against Phoenix. Like, they was throwing it at the rim and it was just going in. It didn't matter where they shot it from; it was going in. So, man, that would have been a very fun series. It's like all these young guys are now taking the torch, right? Leave these old guys behind. You know, the Warriors are done for. That would have been a very fun series. I would have loved it. So, getting back to Kyrie Irving, man, I think all roads is leading for him to go to LA. I don't think it. I think it's inevitable. I just it's like, when it's going to happen. But we have to see, man. Rob Pelinka's going to have to pull something out of his hat and be like, look, okay, this is what we can do. This is what we can do. You can take that $47 million contract to Brooklyn. We'll take Kyrie Irving off your hands because we know he's a headache to you. We know he's a headache. We know he doesn't have the passion to play ball no more. We know this. He'd rather do other things than get on the court. We don't know if he loves basketball anymore. So Rob Pelinka's going to have to work that magic out. He's going to have to work the magic. And then if he can sweeten the pot and get KD, man, what in the world? Could you, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, and Kyrie Irving on the same team? That is crazy. But they have to figure it out. They have to do something, because I think LeBron, if things keep going this way and LeBron feels like there's no talent coming into the Lakers, he's not going to sign a long-term deal. He's going to play free agency. So the Lakers, I think, have to figure this one out and make a deal. They have to make a big splash, because last year, wasn't it? Kyrie messed up. He should not opt in. He should have opted out and joined the Lakers for the 6.5. We would not lose Russ or anyone else could come off the bench. I agree, and I thought that was going to be the case. I'm not going to lie to you, Fred. I thought that was going to be the case. I thought he was going to mess with free agency, but of course he doesn't want to turn down that money, because he's not going to get that sizable money again, because everybody's sitting there like, we don't know what we're getting from Kyrie Irving, so we're not going to pay him the max deal, because we don't know if he's going to play 50 games. He's already injury prone. Yeah, I mean, who's going to turn down $36 million? And of course, we all know people are not going to pay him that anymore, because he's injury prone. We don't know if he's even passionate for basketball. We're not going to give him a super max deal. He's going to get, whatever he's going to get from us. But I truly and honestly thought, when he opted in, I thought he was going to stay in Brooklyn. I was like, okay, he's going to play in Brooklyn. He's going to leave in free agency. I think this Kevin Durant trade really messed things up, and I was like, uh-oh. So you mean to tell me KD doesn't want to come back to New York or to Brooklyn? And it's all the same area, right? I got to get out of here. I got my money. Yeah, I got to get out of here. So that right there, I think was it. When Kevin Durant said, "Look, I'm ready to leave. I'm ready to leave. Let me get out of here. I'm about to leave." That changed Kyrie Irving's mind, and I think he was like one day too late, too early. I think if Kyrie would have heard that Kevin Durant. Yeah, that was it right there. That was it. I think if he would have heard before he opted in that I'm going to leave, Kyrie would have never opted in. He would have never opted in. He would have been a free agent. There was no way that he would have opted in if he would have known Kevin Durant was going to leave. It was no way. It was one day too early. one day too early. So that was it. That he kind of messed himself up right there, because like, man, if he would have waited, he would have been like, okay, I'm opting out. I'm going to LA. I'm just going to LA. There it is. You don't have to worry about me. I'll take whatever money we got. And so now he's going to have to find a trade partner, and it's going to definitely have to be like a 3-team deal or something. They're going to have to figure this one out. But yeah, that's what the situation is, man. Brooklyn is going to have a rough time knowing that two of their star players are going to be gone. And look, it might be rebuild mode for Brooklyn, but it is what it is. But that's going to be the end of that topic. I appreciate everybody watching the show as of right now. Like I said, if you have any questions or comments, we can definitely do that. And yeah, LeBron could put him in a movie role and make that money back up. That's so true. That's so true. Look, you know what I'm saying? I mean, look, Kyrie is not, not a stranger to movies. Uncle Drew was a some sort of a hit in some circles. So look, it is Hollywood, Fred. I agree, man. And everybody wants to be out here, especially the end of their career. They can make money off of that. LeBron's a billionaire now. He wasn't doing that in Cleveland. You crazy? LeBron was not going to be no billionaire in Cleveland. You crazy? He went to LA and became a billionaire, sir. That's what LA can do for you. You make some movies. You make commercials. You filming and stuff. He has his own show. He can just find a studio in LA. Kyrie know what the deal is. Come on now. Get that money up, Kyrie. So let's go ahead and continue on to our next topic. And that is NBA free agency. So the NBA free agency has started. And look, there's some money being thrown around this free agency. All right. So day one was a craziness, some craziness. All right, let's start off day one. Let's start off with Jokic, man. Jokic has the biggest contract in NBA history. Nikola Jokic signed. Hold on, let me see. Let me get the money right. Let me get the money right. All right, because this right here, Nikola Jokic signed a 5-year, $270 million. Hold on, let me get close to the mic. $270 million contract. Okay, that is some money, and he's well deserved. Don't get me wrong, Nikola Jokic deserves that money. This man is like a unicorn, to be honest with you. And something about the European big men, they just joined the NBA just ready to play. And Jokic was that from Jump Street. All he had to do was get his frame right, his body right. Because when he came in the league, he was a big dude. He was a very big dude. Now he lost some weight. He's MVP. Nikola Jokic is one of the best big men in the NBA. It is what it is. And then we have John Morant agreeing to a 5-year, $231 million contract. He's going to be in Memphis for a very long time. Now, if they can build around him, they have a solid team. But I feel like if they can get one more superstar, and like Fred said, a KD will probably make Memphis a championship team. So if we can get that one more superstar, because they already have a good team. They just need one more guy who can give you a playoff bucket. Like a guy who's been in those type of situations. They can get that one guy. I think that's a championship team right there. And then we had Jalen Brunson getting a fat contract out there in New York, which I think is a bit of a leap of faith, a little bit for that, because even I think Jalen Brunson made some money this year for sure, especially when Luka was hurt in that first series against Utah. I think he made him some money during that season because he carried the Dallas Mavericks in that series. Now he's going to New York. I don't know, man. If he doesn't play well, the New York fans is gonna let you know you stink. They drove Kemba Walker out of that city. Look, I thought Kemba Walker was going to be a good fit. Oh, a guy who can score, a New York native. You know what I'm saying? Well, they drove him out the city. And so Jalen Brunson, they'll do that to you. So you better play. And so let's continue on. A big trade that happened. DeJounte Murray going to the Atlanta Hawks to pair up with Trae Young. That's going to be a fun backcourt. DeJounte Murray is a great defender. He's always been a very good defender. But this year he kind of took a step up, and now it's becoming more of a scorer this year. On top of that, great defense. So he's going to be a big acquisition to the Atlanta Hawks, who needed another guy because, man, did you guys watch that Hawks Heat series? Dear goodness, the way that the Miami defense was abusing Trae Young, that whole series, they needed another guy. Herter couldn't step up. He just ended up getting traded not too long ago, because they did bring in Murray, so now, he had to go his way. Danilo Gallinari is out. He's going to Boston to add with him, and then they added Malcolm Brogdon too. That's going to be an interesting team. We're going to have to see how they all gel together. That's a lot going on. We're talking about Gallinari, who needs the ball to score. Jason Tatum needs the ball to score. Brown, it's a lot of people that you got to add in Marcus Smart on top of Brogdon. It's like, golly, you guys have a lot of people to work around with. Somebody's going to have to make a big sacrifice on that team. So that's interesting. And let's talk about this, everyone. Bradley Beal has agreed to go back to Washington for over $200 million. I think it was like 200 and let's get the numbers right. I think it was like a 231 max deal or something like that. Everyone, I have to be 100% honest, and I have to answer this question. Do Bradley Beal care about winning? Because it seems like each and every year Washington is fighting for their playoff lives. They're usually never good. I think one year when they had Russ, that was a good team. It was a fun team to watch. They worked well together. But, man, Bradley Beal, I think, only made the playoffs 2 times out of his career. Bradley Beal has to be the most loyal person on planet Earth. Because I would have been out of Washington because they never build around this man. I mean, never build around this man. Never, ever, ever build around him. Bradley Beal is literally averaging 38 points a game because he has to. He has to. Because nobody else on that team is ever good. You don't know who plays on Washington. If you can name me without looking up, any player without looking up on the Washington roster, I'd say you're a sports savant. So I don't even know who plays on Washington other than Bradley Beal. I'm just gonna be wholehearted honest with you. But Bradley Beal wants to stay for another 5 years. Look, If Washington has another bad season, they better get Kevin Durant. They better trade everybody. They better trade the whole team for Kevin Durant if that was possible. Just trade the whole team except Bradley Beal. And then throw in 15 number one picks for Kevin Durant. They're going to have to do that. They're going to have to do that because, man, that team is so bad each and every year. And it's like, why would you want to stay there? Anyway, look, I don't know. I don't know what's the mindset of Bradley Beal, but look, it's got to be money because that's the only thing I can think about. So let's continue on to another big newsworthy thing that came out of the NBA, and that is Rudy Gobert actually getting traded to Minnesota. That was a big shocker to me. I think it was coming. I think at some point, I don't think Rudy Gobert was going to mesh well with Donovan Mitchell. So I think this was going to happen. I think it was going to happen. But man, that is going to be a crazy front court. You bringing in Rudy Gobert, one of the best defensive centers in all of the NBA. Then you have Karl-Anthony Towns, who just signed a fat contract to return to Minnesota, man, one of the best skilled big men in the NBA. Then you have Anthony Edwards, who's slowly becoming a superstar in the NBA. That's going to be a fun team. That's going to be a very fun team to watch, and I'm excited to see how it goes in Minnesota. I think Patrick Beverley was on his way out, but I believe Jordan McLaughlin, a strong point guard from USC, played very well to a point he might start. So I don't think that's hurt him. He's a better scorer. He's not, of course, not as good defensively as Patrick Beverley. Patrick Beverley is just one of those guys who is a nuisance. A very big nuisance. So we have to continue on looking at that. Some other smaller deals. Bruce Brown is out of New York, and I think that was good for him. He's going to the Denver Nuggets. Will Barton was traded along with Malik Beasley. Los Angeles picked up Lonnie Walker, who's a very explosive guard as far as Troy Brown as an explosive guy. Nick Batum coming back to Los Angeles, that's a big deal. We also have to look at James Harden. He's a free agent, but I think all roads is for him to go back to Philadelphia. I think he enjoys it out in Philadelphia. I think that's a big deal with him. PJ Tucker is going to be interesting. I think a lot of people want PJ Tucker. Zach LaVine got some money out there in Chicago, and kudos to him, man. I would have left Chicago a long time ago because he played in some very bad teams. But this year, things is looking up. I think the injury to Lonzo Ball was a bigger deal to them than people really think. I think that injury really hurt him because, man, Lonzo Ball playmaking is very unmatched, and his defense as well. Lonzo Ball is a very underrated defender, so you have to look out for that. And then I think that team will constantly make it back to the postseason. So we have to be on the lookout for them. We're talking about Malik Monk, who played very well for the Los Angeles Lakers last year, signed a 2-year deal, $19 million for in Sacramento, reuniting him with his college teammate, De'Aaron Fox. That's going to be a fun deal. And then a big shock, Anthony Simons is coming back on a 4-year, $100 million deal. That's good for him, man. That's very good for him. And then so we also have to, let's not forget John Wall is heading to the Clippers to pair it with Paul George and Kawhi Leonard if he's healthy enough to go. And so let's talk about one last person. That's DeAndre Ayton. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's take a step back. I want to get into one more topic before we get into DeAndre Ayton, and that is Zion Williamson is going to sign a big contract to stay in New Orleans, and that is a big shock to me because Zion has not played too many games in the NBA to the point where we're going to just willingly give him $200+ million. I think, of course, the biggest thing with Zion, of course, is weight. Playing in the NBA is stressful, and a guy as athletic as Zion Williamson is, you coming down on them knees and them ankles, man, at a big weight that he is, as explosive as he is, that's going to hurt. So, of course, he has to lose, a lot of pounds. They signed him to a $195 million 5-year deal. I would have never done that. Never in my life done that. I think he had one more year to prove himself. And if he's not going to play next year, you just willingly gave a dude $195 million. Like, who does that? So he's going to have to prove something this year. He has to. He has to be like, look, I'm worth that contract. Because Ja is worth that contract. The guy right after him, he should have been the number one pick. I'm just going to be 100% honest with you. Ja should have been the number one pick. It's hard to come with good point guards. And I knew Ja was going to be the truth. I thought Zion would have been the truth, man, because Zion was playing very well his first year. And I was like, okay, he was going to be cool. Then the second year gets hurt, big as heck. I don't know what's going on. But he has to figure it out. He's going to have to prove it this year. Or they're going to have to figure, I don't know. He'll earn as much as 231. I ain't play his full season. That's what I'm getting at, man. That's what I'm getting at. I don't know. I would have gave him another year. I would have been like, okay, we're going to give you one more year. If you can show that you are the superstar that we know you're going to be, we're going to give you this money. But giving it to him right now when you're so uncertain, and they made the playoffs without him, it's like they don't need him. CJ McCollum was like that one missing piece that they needed. Brandon Ingram's a baller. Alvarado is one of those pesky dudes that nobody liked. Oh man, you still think Zion's gonna be a bust? I'm not gonna give him a bust because we haven't gave him too many games. I think he'll be I'm not gonna say he'll be an average player. I have to see him in action. I gotta give him one more year. I have to give him one more year. After this year, I'm gonna be like, okay, yeah, Zion, you're just gonna be an above average player. You're not gonna be a superstar that we thought you were. And like Ja Morant is a superstar. Ja Morant is a superstar. I'm just gonna give you that, and he's worth every penny he got in this offseason. He won't be in the Hall of Fame ever. At this rate, I don't think so. At this rate, I don't think so. But it's still early. I'm not going to count him out. Curry was the same way. Everybody thought his ankles wasn't going to hold up, and he wasn't going to be nobody good. But, man, he worked through it. He worked through them ankle injuries, and now he's one of the best point guards to ever lace them up. So, you never can really tell. But I got to give him one more year. Then I can make my assessment. Usually I give younger players like 2 or 3 years in the league so they can develop, get a little bit stronger, get used to the NBA speed, get used to everything. And then 4 or 5 years if down the road, if he's still average, you got what you got. You know what I'm saying? So before I end the show, I want to start talking about DeAndre Ayton. I think DeAndre Ayton is 1 foot out the door. I think he's asking for a little bit more than he's worth. And I don't know. I just don't see him being in a Phoenix uniform for too much longer, especially after they gave Booker that fat behind contract not too long ago. They're definitely not going to pay Ayton that. And I think he wants to get paid that big. And I don't think he's worth that much money. So we're going to have to see what's going on with that. I think that is a stickier situation than you think, because look, I think the Phoenix Suns have maybe one more year of playing dominant basketball. Because look, Chris Paul's not getting any younger. They're gonna have to start figuring out his replacement. Ayton is, I don't know. He's a good center, but he's not like a Jokic or an Embiid. I think he's an above average player, but he's not a superstar like those two guys are. Those two guys are like, when you talk about centers, those are the upper echelons of center. I think Ayton is like out of the top 5. He probably maybe a top 10 center. I would say he's a top 10 center, yes. But he's not a superstar. He's not them Embiids who's going to give you 25, 26 points a game, 13 rebounds. Look, Ayton's one of those guys, a 15-10 double-double type of guy. It's not like Ayton is one of those guys, you give him the ball, go get me a bucket. Not that kind of player. So I think he should think about considering taking what he can get. Even though it's not going to be a big payday, just take what you can get. Because let's take an example for like Dennis Schroeder. That man has been tossed around the league a little bit after the Lakers was willingly giving him maybe about $40 million, right? And he declined. He was like, "Oh, I need more money." Boy, his agent should get fired like yesterday. Schroeder really had all the money in the world, and now he goes to Celtics, gets traded. Where he's in Oklahoma City, not doing nothing. That could happen to Ayton. And look, I think he should just be like, okay, I'm gonna just swallow my pride. I'm gonna get what I can get. If I can get 100 million, 125 million for 3 years, maybe I'll do that. I will do that. So Ayton is going to have to figure it out. And that's it. I mean, this whole free agency is crazy. We have to see what Kyrie and KD do, because that's going to shake up the league. That's going to shake up the league, everyone. So we just have to be on the lookout for that. So I appreciate everybody hanging out with me and coming to the show. It was a fun show. We had a lot of good things to talk about. So I will definitely be doing a lot more shows in the next coming month, because I have to do this for class. And so, what, I can go ahead and do my sports show and get an A for doing this. So this is going to be a fun month. So prepare yourself. We're going to have a lot of fun in the next coming months. And so I will see you guys next Saturday, if everything goes well. And yeah, until then, I hope you guys have a great weekend. All right. So until next time, peace.